Hello, everyone, and welcome to the hour, or the fifth hour of our 2022 A Second Chance 12-hour fundraising event. We're here to help A Second Chance bring awareness and advocate for transplant community and other life-threatening illnesses. The funding is critical, and they don't charge for any assistance. We're going to be talking a lot about them today. That's what this hour is for. This event is going to be running until 8 p.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. And we are bringing, again, awareness to the programs that A Second Chance has and has the honor of working with in the past, other community organizations that do great work. The Second Chance did start through their first live air show and podcast to spotlight individuals and stories of individuals fighting in difficult life situations and being an instrument for the people. The other side of A Second Chance is bringing awareness to the organ transplantation and organ donation. It has grown into having a magazine and quickly becoming an organization that provides support and resources to the community. Our founder is Philip Jones. He is a kidney transplant recipient who has battled chronic kidney disease for over 2 decades. And at the age of 4, Philip had strep throat that attacked his kidneys that caused them to fail and fall to 30%. At 17, Philip received a life-saving kidney transplant, and in 3 years, kidneys rejected and caused him to face a number of other illnesses and dialysis. After facing a number of health challenges, and as he's still on dialysis, Philip decided to go back to school and get his degree, and now he's built this amazing organization. So we're going to ask you this hour, please donate, and you can do so by going to www.secondchance.net/donate, and I will be putting that and dropping the links in the chat. And you can also donate by check made out to Philip Jones Jr., and we'll be sharing those links in just a moment. We're also going to have a special guest today I'm very excited to talk about and bring. Now, we did have a little change of plans because originally we had one special guest, but that special guest couldn't make it with us tonight. So we got an even better guest, and I am so excited to bring him and introduce him. Let me go ahead and get our information here for our fundraiser. We'll have the ticker on the bottom that can give you the information you need, how to donate, and that's why we're here. Again, that's what we ask. All right. Well, everyone, oh goodness. I'm so excited to introduce our guest. Our guest today is Glenn Pugh. He's a district representative under Texas State Senator Dr. Don Buckingham. He's from Abilene, Texas. He's an experienced manager. It's skilled in intelligence, readiness, and organizational leadership tactics. He has a Bachelor of Science in Occupational Education, and he's focused on corporate trainings and development. And he's also the treasurer of an organization we are going to be for the Camaraderie Rescue Mission, Inc. So we're going to go ahead and bring him out, Mr. Glenn Pugh.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Honored to have you here on the show as we are talking about illnesses, life-threatening, donation, and I'll be asking you a little bit to share any stories that you may have. But tell us a little bit about you and your little bit about background.
Well, so I am retired Air Force. I did 30 years and 22 days. So I retired about 4 years ago.
Thank you.
And once I retired, and thank you for yours. And once I retired, I went to work for the U.S. Congress for a little while, and then I moved over to help a friend with his plumbing company as managing his fleet of vehicles. And then I thought I was going to fully retire, and Senator Buckingham reached out and asked if I'd help her. So here I am. And as of the 1st of January, I'll start working at the Texas Land Office, where she was recently elected as a Texas Land Commissioner. My wife is also retired Air Force. She did 22 years. She's working in service now. Let me say 22 and a half years. She doesn't want to lose that 6 months. So
That's right.
She did 20 and a half. And we have 4 kids, 4 grandkids. I'm originally from Texas. She's from Los Angeles. We live in Texas, which is about where we live is about 4 hours from where I grew up.
Awesome. Great. So we're honor to have you here and to meet you. And again, thank you for your service, your wife's service. Military veterans are special in my heart, especially when you do the 30 years. That's incredible. Such a commitment and a dedication there. And now you move on to a new position that I assume you're really excited about, and you're going to be able to do a lot of good work, I'm sure.
Well, it's actually working with veterans because the Texas Land Commission also runs the Veterans Land Board, the state veterans homes, and the state veterans cemeteries. So, uh, being able to help out with veterans in that job will be very rewarding, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Keep those connections, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, I want to say hello to the chat. I see a few people here. Chris, what's up? How are you doing, my friend? Long time. And Juana, thank you for joining us. Thank you. It is good to be back live. It's been a minute. I had to take a little hiatus, but I think that kind of happens with many of us. And your Saturday night is listening in. Hello, hello. And I have a LinkedIn user. I am not sure who your name is, but please share your name if you can. We'd love to give you a shout out. And they say congratulations on your new position. And thank you for my freedom. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start. Now, I want to go ahead and let whoever's listening in how you got here and how you're related to our original guest. Our original guest was going to be Mr. Greg Bicknell, and he wasn't able to make it. So we have you, which is, again, I'm ecstatic and such an honor. We're going to be definitely continue to hear about your veteran the services, the camaraderie. And so tell us a little bit about that organization and Greg.
So Greg and I were both chiefs in the Air Force together. We met at Dyess Air Force Base in Texas, and he had some some mental health struggles, and he actually went through. And he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he actually he emailed his therapist at the clinic, and he was having some issues and really needed some help. Well, the therapist's response was, well, just call the appointment desk and schedule an appointment. Well, that kind of set him to thinking. He's like, what if our airmen have these issues and they need help right away? Are they going to just call the appointment line? If they did that to a chief, they probably would have done that to anyone else. And so that's kind of what got him to thinking about getting into what he's doing now and helping veterans and end suicide and isolation. And so that's what he started Camaraderie Rescue Mission. And we've been through some iterations and working on heroes, badges, and warriors now. And he's done lots of different events. He's done some horse training events. One of the guys that attended the horse event said that he got more out of that weekend with a horse than he did out of 5 years of therapy for PTSD. So it's just amazing what this organization has been able to do to help us.
So that's the Camaraderie Rescue Mission, Inc. that you're both part of. And then you said the suicide intervention. That he's a suicide interventionist, Air Force Wounded Warrior program ambassador as well. All right. And I did see in the chat, thank you so much, James. He's a fellow veteran as well. Go ahead, James. Let us know. I know you were Army, so drop your information there about related to your military. And thank you for your service as well, James. I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for supporting us. Yes. Okay. This is so important. I haven't had the chance to really do deep work with veterans per se. I do remember I applied for a job as a DVOP one year and I didn't get it. And I thought this is going to be my chance to really focus on veterans through the local state employment office. But that door didn't open for me. So it doesn't matter though. There's so many great organizations that are out there helping veterans and helping individuals through these chronic illnesses, life-threatening illnesses. And I'm sure there's probably veterans out there that can talk about needing an organ donation that have been through some medical crisis, that difficult spot. And so, I know that maybe the organization doesn't technically focus on that, but do you know of any individuals, or do you have any stories that you can think of maybe that have touched your life in that area?
Absolutely. So I have a friend and here in Abilene. He wanted to start a distillery here in town. To start the distillery, he needed permission from the locals close to where he started. To get permission, he basically had to sign off saying that they're okay with him having close to their homes. Well, one of the people he had to talk to was actually a minister. Went to the minister's house and to talk about opening up this whiskey distillery, which so he figured that was going to be a hard sell. But as he in his talking with the minister had said he was waiting on a kidney transplant. Well, my friend, who he had just met. He said, "Well, what if mine works?"
Wow.
And so, and of course, it was a match. And so they went to
Wow.
San Antonio, and he donated his kidney to someone he had only met 2 hours prior. And then he'd only known the man for about 2 hours, and went through the process of donating the kidney. So it's a really Tim Yandell name story. It was in the newspaper, so it's public knowledge now. But
Yeah.
that was a very touching story.
Right. Wow, I can only imagine what that would be like. And I know that, like I said, the founder of A Second Chance, Philip, he's currently on dialysis. He's been through receiving a kidney, like I said in the intro, and then it just didn't work out, and that's just part, I think, of the process, unfortunately. But, we really try to support individuals in those situations. And I love what A Second Chance is doing to really get out the message and advocate for individuals that are going through that. And I love that they're actually taking the time to highlight veterans in this hour. So thank you again, Philip, for letting us highlight veterans and veterans in need, and also talk about suicide awareness, and bring awareness to that. I want to go back to the chat. Okay, James, thank you for the comment. Great message. My father is a retired chief, and we often talk about how he has been treated during his retirement. And then he also says, yes, I admit it. I should have joined the Air Force. You got me, DJ. Well, you still served your country, James. So we appreciate you and your family, right, and all the support. And he's got an amazing organization that also serves veterans. And, well, that's somebody you might want to meet. So there's just so many organizations out there. And that's why I love the space of advocacy, because people can really see how it touches their lives and how you just never know, right? Like, you just never know who's next to you and what they're going through and what they may need. And you might be that person that can bring them hope, that can bring them a little extra opportunity and time, right? So again, we're here to support A Second Chance. And if you want to donate, the information's in the ticker. We would appreciate any donations. And our founder, Philip Jones, will be handling all of that. It's amazing, really, these stories I've been hearing through the different guests on the different hours. And I'm only hour 5, so they've got so many other stories coming up, really. And it's really, I have never been in that situation, and I don't personally know anyone in my family that's been through that situation. So I can only imagine, the need. But I am an organ donor on my card. So if something was to happen to me, I know that I have. So that's something we can all do if we believe in that, if that's part of their beliefs. But for me, I do believe in that. And I think that those are things that a lot of people don't consider. And sometimes it should be considered. It should be something that we pay a lot of attention to. It should be something that we think about in our community and how we can just make that more of an impact. So I appreciate you being here, Glenn.
I'll tell you my quick story on my organ.
Yeah.
Why I became an organ donor. I ride a motorcycle. I ride motorcycles. I have 3 of them, but I also teach motorcycle safety. And one day I went to the emergency room because I was really sick, but all I had was a motorcycle. So I rode it to the hospital, and I had pneumonia. And he said, when I walked in with my helmet, and the doctor said, "We pneumonia," and he says, "Are you really riding a motorcycle?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He says, "Are you an organ donor?"
Mm.
He says, "Well," he goes, "your helmet is only designed to keep you alive long enough for us to harvest your organs, so you probably should be an organ donor." And apparently he was not a fan of motorcycles, but it did get me to thinking. So immediately I did. I became an organ donor. Not for that reason, but that just got me to thinking the reason, hey, that's probably a good idea to be an organ donor. So I too, and my whole family, we all have organ donor on our license.
Great. That's so important. Okay. I see Philip, a second chance, is here. Thanks for everyone watching. Yes, we are so appreciative of everyone that's supporting this stream, all the other streams, and these organizations that do work with organ donation, organ transplantation, veterans as well. We really do appreciate that. And then, Philip, I appreciate you. Look at that. Thanks to everyone watching today. It isn't just about a second chance, it's about everyone involved. So if you feel like you don't want to donate to a second chance, please consider or donating to DJ or Glenn. I don't have an organization per se, but Glenn, you can talk a little bit more about the organization that you and Greg represent.
Yeah. So Greg, he started this a couple years ago, right during COVID. He actually left a very, very lucrative job to follow his passion, and he funded most of it out of his pocket for the first. I guess he's still funding some out of his pocket, but he's done so much with this organization, the Camaraderie Rescue Mission. And if you go to the website, there's a link there to donate. It's tcrmi.org.
All right, I'll look it up.
And it's he's done some hunts, turkey hunts for people. We've done boat trips we had a boat trip for 11, I think it was 10 or 11 women for a women veterans sailboat trip off the Florida coast, and just to get those women veterans together and talk about the struggles and issues that they're going through and that they had in their time in the military and in their time as being a veteran, because the VA is kind of a little bit behind in some areas when it comes to women's health. And so they were able to get together and just kind of talk things out. And there were a lot of things. And one of the ladies on that trip actually became our executive director.
Oh,
so
okay.
It her heart. So, but I'm the treasurer. I've been with Greg pretty much since the beginning. He called me from Florida. Obviously I'm Texas, and said, "Hey, I really need your help." And don't know how much help I've been, but I'm glad to be with him.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, and I don't really know a whole lot about the organization. I did do some research. I looked it up. I saw you have a Facebook page. I know that y'all are having your own fundraiser this weekend, so that's really exciting. And I did share the link in the chat, and I also added it here to the information on the screen, so people can check out that organization as well if that's something that they would prefer.
We're doing on right now. We have a Facebook fundraiser for if you donate a recurring donation, Facebook matches it up until December 31st. So if anybody wanted to donate and wanted to make it a recurring donation, do that through Facebook, and we'll get 100% match.
Wow, that's incredible! Really, I really love how, like, in this time period, we can get together and we can really advocate for these needs out there, and for those individuals that just don't have the energy. Right, they're going through so much. They have so much on their plate. They have to jump through so many hoops to just get quality care, to be heard. And organizations like this really provide so much support. They provide understanding. They can provide resources. Some can provide a little bit of funding and extra. So really, it's fantastic. Oh, all right. And again, we are here with a second chance. This is why we're here, for the 12-hour fundraising event. And again, ticker says it all, to bring awareness and advocacy also for the transplant community and other life-threatening illnesses that many of us oftentimes don't even realize, right, what's coming until it comes. And then we're like, oh my goodness, what do we do? Who can help us? How do I get through this? So it's really nice to know that there's organizations out there doing so much work to get their voices, their messages, their missions out there for those individuals to have some sort of refuge, some sort of support. So thank you for the work again that you guys are doing over there. Let's see. Glenn, appreciate you for joining us on short notice. DJ, you are awesome. Thank you for being an awesome host. You're so sweet. Thank you, Philip. I mean, this is important, I think. Again, like I said, for so many people, sometimes we don't even know what's coming down the road. And the more we talk about it and normalize it and just let people know, like, you're not alone and there's organizations out there, it can really make a difference in someone's life. And I think that's what it's all about. You know, you can be the one person that really helps someone else. So we'll see. But thank you again. Let's see. What else can we say? What else can we talk about? You got anything else on there you want to share?
Well, yeah. So some of the things that I tell you with Greg, I wish I had half his energy, but he does so much on his own. And we built a board of folks, but he's just so active. He's so passionate about what he does and taking care of people. And whether it be through his organization or he just has a heart for people, you know, so Second Chance, or whether it be through TCRMA or whatever, I know he has a heart for people, as we all do, or we wouldn't be doing this type of work. And you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't. And I know this is important for our communities. If you know, I have met people who have been on a waiting list, and but I don't know many people who actually go out and get tested to see if they're a match for someone. And I think there's some there's some discussions that could be had with that, so that people will go out, and if they can, you know, for kidneys and things such as that. Obviously, some of the others you have to wait for somebody to pass to get, but hopefully the people that do pass are already organ donors, because they get to let their loved one, the families get to let their loved one live on through someone else. And I've watched some of those videos where they've had a heart transplant. It's just amazing. It's changing lives. I think it's a very important that these people they become organ donors. So if you're not an organ donor, please become one soon.
Yes. I mean, there's just such bravery in that, right? To go out there and say, let me see if I'm a match, to help someone else, to let them continue in their life, right? And I think even if we pass and we're an organ donor, that person, that family will never forget your family, right? They will go to your family and say, like, that person that was your immediate family member or extended family member is helping keep my fellow loved one alive. And we appreciate that. And those stories that I love, I've heard a couple in the past hour or two, and just incredible how, like, a little bit of, like what you said, taking the time to go put that on your license can really save multiple lives, possibly, right? If you have different organs that can be used for some other individual in some way. It's just, it continues to have that life be part of another life. And it's just an amazing idea. The idea of it for me is just so touching. So I appreciate that. Let me see. I was also going to share the link here in the chat for a second chance, just to bring it up one more time. Again, the reason that we're here is the donation link is www.a2ndchance.net/donate. And I've also shared your organization. So let me see. I can always put that back. Yeah, no, I mean, I think, again, it's so important. So just, the work is necessary. It's so necessary. It's so important. And I think it's a lot of people they don't want to take time to think about something that can be considered so sad, something so difficult. Everyone wants to stay on the happy side, on the happy place, right? And to think, oh, how difficult it can be for someone else. And it can scare people. People can be scared of that. So we want to encourage people not to be scared. Be brave. Be brave. And reach out to organizations and see how you can help those. And those causes that you really believe in, those causes that are meaningful to you. Because there's just so many amazing organizations out there that are doing this kind of work, that are representing different populations and different communities, medical groups, different types of illnesses, chronic illnesses, life-threatening illnesses. And, maybe there's something you can do. So hopefully we can move someone to take part in action, take action, right?
That's
Isn't that
right.
part of being a representative?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They, with this being a representative or a senator, yeah, they having to take action. So that's what they do. That's what the constituents expect them. So while it's expected that everybody become an organ donor, we hope that they will.
Right.
We're not required to help other people, but thankfully, thank God, there's a lot of us, or a lot of folks out there that have a heart for just helping their communities, and this is one way
Yeah.
that they can help them.
I'm sure as a representative, as a senator, as any person in office, you really depend on those organizations, those nonprofits that are in the trenches. We'll use a little military term there, in the trenches with those individuals, right? They're the ones that are side by side on the phone, reaching out to other organizations, trying to find any way possible to help that person. So really, it starts from the top, right? It starts from the top.
So yeah, without nonprofits, if you really think about it, if we didn't have nonprofits uh, in our country, who would pick up the tab? Who would have to take care of these things? Well, we were having to rely on the government. That's probably not the best way to do it. The government hasn't always been able to manage all the programs, right? On government
Right,
too much, but
absolutely.
but nonprofits pick up that slack. Nonprofits come in and they provide shelter for homeless people. They provide
Mhm.
these are the and the people who give are making that happen, which is the way it was designed to be anyway. It wasn't meant to be the government come in and take care of one. It was meant to be that we take care of each other. And as a country and as a people, we donate to these organizations so that they can continue their mission of taking care of people. Because if the government relies on nonprofits to fill in that gap.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I love what you said. We take care of each other, and that's true. Fundamentally, I think that's what it should be. We can't really depend on the government. I mean, there's only so much the government can do and should do. And really, the rest lies, I think, within us as a community, as uh, one helping another, right? Help your neighbor. What's that? What's the word? What's the thing about? Oh shoot, I forgot. But you know what I mean.
Um, are you talking about like philanthropy or?
No, well, I mean, I was just thinking of like just a normal that the saying, as the saying goes. That's what all I was thinking.
Oh,
But it's not a big deal. Ah, it's
we'll
okay.
both
All
remember
right.
it after this is over.
Isn't that just the way it goes? It is. That's just the way it goes. I'm be like, oh, I should have said that, or that's what I meant to say.
Yep.
But that's all right. Again, okay, we're hitting about the 30-minute mark, so time is going by pretty fast, don't you think so, Glenn?
Oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah. This, I appreciate you. You stepping in, stepping up to bat. I love it.
Well, it was
But
just
again,
today. It was just. It wasn't. It was just this afternoon, or actually this morning, that Greg had
yeah,
contacted me, and just. I'm usually pretty busy. But he just happened to catch me on a good day, so it worked out. I'm just glad it did.
yeah, I love it. And I mean, for you to be on here and giving your time, again, you're still serving, right? And so I can tell you thank you so much on behalf of me, on behalf of the Second Chance organization, on behalf of lots of other nonprofits, other organizations that help, whether they're profitable or for not profit, but they're still doing the work. They're still out there helping those individuals again in these types of situations. It's just so important. And that's why really we're here. The more that we can do from the ground, it's less that you have to do from the top, and we can work together. So, and I love that peer to peer. I think it's kind of like when veterans helping veterans, like there's just something there, right? That camaraderie. And I think that goes for any kind of condition that somebody may have, right? When you talk to someone that's been gone through that experience, it gives you hope. It gives you like, okay, there's somebody out there that knows what I'm going through, has felt what I'm feeling. And that in itself is so powerful.
Well, when I went to work for Congressman Arrington when I first retired from the military, I would set up a schedule, and we would set up to meet with nonprofits, and I didn't really understand at the beginning exactly what he was accomplishing by meeting with some of these nonprofits. Well, and that's kind of but it hit me one day that, because they're just so necessary. And he made the comment to me that there are really only two kinds of people in the world, and those are the ones that are profit oriented and those that are service oriented. And those of us especially those of us who have served in the military, we know what that service part, and so it feels pretty natural to come out and then to continue to serve in some form or fashion. And we need both kinds of people. We need people who are profit oriented, and we need people who are service oriented. So that the profit's what's going to get the money to donate to those nonprofits. So we need both people. We need both kinds of people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again, everyone you work together. You got to find ways to work together. Again, to just be there for the community, be there to support, those lives, those humans that are out there going through these difficult times and these situations. So I think that it really hits home. Now, for me, again, it hasn't been something personal in the transplant, but just in any chronic illness or any kind of life-threatening, just being by the side of someone to provide them support, to try to assist them through getting those resources that they need and connecting them with the right people, the people that can really guide them with knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that all these different organizations, like a Second Chance, and I don't want to mess up yours. Hold on. Camaraderie Rescue Mission Inc.
Right.
as well. It's just all these different organizations that have these very special missions, right? And so we could go back to the suicide intervention and focusing on that just a little bit, because it can be all these kind of situations and all these feelings, and just when we're in that darkness, just how important it is these organizations to be there. So tell us a little bit about some stories, or maybe how that your organization has continued to save some more lives.
Well, so as I mentioned earlier, the one guy that like said the horse therapy was better than 5 years of therapy he received with his therapist, I thought that was a pretty impactful statement for him to make. So Nancy Slater has a equine ranch where the veterans come out. They don't ride the horses, but they learn to connect with them, and it helps them on a different level to be able to cope with what's going on in their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get to go to that, so I really can't speak exactly how it worked. But I know that it wasn't a thing where they're teaching them how to ride horses. It was more about how to connect one person to the horse. And so then, like I said, they had the sailing trips, done the turkey hunts in Kentucky, different things that Greg has put together to take veterans and get together to talk. Because, I've been involved, I was diagnosed PTSD as well. And so getting together with veterans and being able to sit, whether it's out on the back porch of a cabin with a cigar and just talking, or at each other like we do in the military, it's just, it really, really, I think it brings a lot of people, it brings them out more though than they would talking to people who understand what they've gone through, or at least they don't think that they understand what they're going through. So I think it's very to have these organizations like what Greg has for these veterans to get together and to talk and just to get out and enjoy one another's company and camaraderie, which is why we named it what we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's so fundamentally important. Again, it goes back to that peer-to-peer, I think. Just someone, again, that's been through that situation, someone that can understand. You don't feel like you're being judged. You don't feel like they're throwing you a pity party, but they're really there to just provide support, to provide hope, to provide just brighten up your day. And that matters. That really does. Those moments in that darkness really do matter. Just, every minute counts, I think.
That's right.
And with so many of these kinds of situations, whether, either from suicide to life-threatening illnesses, but every minute really does count. Let's see.
Well, in my time as a first sergeant in the Air Force, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, my time as a first sergeant in the Air Force, I dealt with quite a few with suicidal ideations and it maybe attempted it. And then when I was stationed in Korea, actually, one of my airmen didn't show up for work, and I found him in his closet. He had hung himself the night before, so he was already passed by the time I found him. So what Greg is doing is definitely near and dear to my heart, because that was one too many, and that's not the only one that I know of our own folks that have committed suicide, because they felt like that was the only answer. And how dire does it have to be for you to think that that's the only way out? So we've got to figure out a way to get them some help to where they know that that's not the only answer. Because when they make that decision, to them, that's the only answer they got.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, the organization that you represent is amazing. And I'm so glad to be able to have this conversation and learn a lot more about it. And, you be able to share the work that you're doing. Is it nationwide or is it local to a specific community?
So no, it is nationwide. As a matter of fact, he when Greg designed it, he's in Florida. He opened it in Florida, but he reached out across his friends. He reached out with some other across the country with people he knew, like such as myself, and started setting up. Originally, we were calling them ambassadors across the country and different parts of the country to camaraderie ambassadors, so that we could channel some events in each area. And so it is nationwide. While it's headquartered out of Lakeland, Florida, it is nationwide.
Okay, great. I mean, this sounds like an amazing resource. Again, if you have a veteran in your family or a loved one that was in the military, this is a good resource to have. And if you know someone that needs an organ or has been through organ transplantation, then A Second Chance is another great organization that they can connect with. And Philip Jones. So I did get a little video. I'm going to play it here. We're at the 40-minute mark. So let's go ahead and check out this video from Philip and A Second Chance. Alrighty, looks like they got some new stuff coming out in January. How exciting! Do you guys got anything coming out in January or in the first quarter of next year? You guys got anything you're working on?
We're working on a couple things, but it's not. We don't have anything that's live yet. That if we do, me being in Texas, Greg has something going on this weekend in Florida. I believe it's this weekend, and so I apologize for not having all that information. But,
that's okay.
But yeah,
I might be able to find it.
You can reach out to him. You can reach out to the website. There's some information out there. I'm trying to work on some stuff out here. We talked this morning about using a local camp here to get some veterans together and have some speakers come out and just kind of hunting or whatever we want to do, fishing, something that we can do to get people together.
Absolutely. Again, it's just those moments that kind of bring you hope, that bring you a sense of normalcy, if that's the word. Yeah. To just kind of stop thinking about all this other stuff that's going on, right? All the severity and the seriousness, but just have some time to enjoy time with others and doing something that's a little bit leisure, something that's a little bit relaxing and rewarding and brings a smile to our face.
Yep.
I am looking at Greg's profile here, so I'm going to be trying to find that link as well for the information. Yeah. Let's see. I believe it was on Facebook, but it's a exchange. Okay, suicide interventionist. Yeah, camaraderie rescue mission. I'm gonna have to keep looking, but
yeah, you check the Facebook page. It's probably going to be more up to date. But
is that the preferred platform where you post all the information?
That's where he'll post some things, and that as well as for the fundraising he's doing through that. So Facebook,
I love that matching
kind
idea.
of what we're doing. Yeah, it was kind of a good deal. I mean, as long as it's recurring, so if somebody would give us just whatever amount they want to give per month, up through December 31st, and as long as they sign up between now and December 31st, Facebook's going to match it.
Awesome. Philip, did you hear that? Maybe you should check that out. That might help as well. All right, I found their Facebook page. It took me a minute, but we got it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. We're going to share that because, that's important. There it is. I can also put it in up here where we're looking. Let's see. There's the Facebook page, tcrmi.org. Let me see. My goodness, I got so many windows open. Gotta love it.
Sound like me.
Yeah, we're all working really hard here. It's like something disappears and it's behind the page that we're on. But oh goodness!
One of the most recent things, if you'll see on the Facebook, is that in December they had another horse event, and then there's a week-long retreat called Warriors Ascent that he was attended before, and now he's actually able to take some veterans there himself. And for when he came out of that, it was life-changing. So if anybody wants to get involved in Warriors Ascent or see what it's about, I'm not sure what their website is, but I'm sure there's a search engine out there that has it. But I know that Greg is now heavily involved with them and getting veterans into their program as well.
Extreme Horsemanship?
That's the one he just did in December. Yeah. Well,
December 9th, yes. It says. Yeah. Wow.
Right.
I know that a lot of that equine therapy is really beneficial to a lot of individuals. I've worked with kids in various types of situations, and I know that there's lots of kids that's really made a huge impact on. So.
Yeah. Well, there's my cousin. She was involved with another equine therapy one. It was called Horse Feathers in East Texas, and they ended up naming a stadium after her because she was on one of their rides, and her horse actually kicked her in the face, and she passed from her injury. She didn't make it, but she had there's another organization out there that does this out there. It's not a veteran organization, but so there's plenty of nonprofits out there, and one of the things that the congressman told me to ask me to do when I was working for him, hey, can you get a list of the nonprofits in my district? So the biggest cities in the district are Abilene and Lubbock.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Yeah, that's a little bit clearer. Go ahead and repeat that last part because I want to make sure I didn't miss what you were saying.
Okay, well, so when the congressman look up in his district, and between the two largest cities, which are Abilene and Lubbock, Abilene is only about 120,000 people, but if I remember correctly, there's about 640 nonprofits in Abilene. Now that's a lot, if you think about how many nonprofits. Now, not all of them are active. If you think you can look at the financials, and if you don't see any activity, then they're probably not very active. But that's still a lot of nonprofits. So there's a lot of in this area. There's plenty of other areas across the country. This area, especially to me, just seems to be very, very giving, and they just want to help each other. And so it's just great to see.
Yeah. I mean, again, this work is just so important. The way in the stories that you share and you've been sharing this hour, and in stories I've heard from other guests and my own show, when it comes to all the different individuals, the specialists, the medical professionals, the family members, the therapists, the caseworkers, I mean, there's just so many people that are part of this, and you don't realize how much it takes behind the scenes for one individual that's going through so much, and how many people are really involved, and how all that is put together, right? It just takes a lot, and it takes the community. It really does. In all the different aspects that we kind of touched on throughout the hour, whether it's like financial, whether it's emotional support, psychological support, it just does not go without need and honor.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and do one more call to action, maybe a few more call to actions before we start wrapping this up. Again, we are here for a second chance. The information is provided below. You can make a check. You can donate through their website to Philip Jones, a second chance organization that supports organ transplant recipients and people on the waiting lists as well, people that are going through it. So it's really important in that you can also be an organ donor yourself. And we've talked about that, which I thought was really important as well. Just letting people know and encouraging others, like how many of us there really are that are organ donors, and how we see that, and how much how much pride, right? Pride that I have in that and sharing that. And I've told Philip this before, and in a few times in conversations that we've had, is that I've always been very proud to be an organ donor, and I've been doing it since I was little, since I can remember. It's always been on my driver's license. I personally did not see a reason not to be. And I knew, and I could see the value in that immediately.
Absolutely.
Let's see. We can also support the Second Chance. There's a YouTube channel, they have Instagram, and they're also on Facebook. So please, if you cannot make a donation, at least support them through their social media pages, just like your organization, the Camaraderie Rescue Mission. Again, there's just so many organizations, and just to encourage people it is that time of season, where those agencies are out there and they're really looking for those funding, some financial support to be able to continue their mission and their purpose into the new year, into the next year. So to do bigger and better things for all these individuals that are out there that need their services, that need their resources.
I do have Greg just sent me a message. He said if you refresh the Facebook page, it should come up what we have going on next weekend. It's called
Oh,
the 8th Annual Veterans Expo
I
for
can.
Project Vet Relief.
Yes. Let me go ahead and just give a little quick screen share, I guess. Let me see if I can pull this off without.
All right.
Oh goodness. I know we got all the windows, but that's okay. We're gonna give them. Oops. We're gonna do a quick screen share, and of course.
So the American Legion is putting us on, but with partnerships from lots of different organizations. So,
Mhm.
which I'm also a life member of the American Legion, and for those that don't know, that's the largest veterans organization
Yes.
we have. So,
Yes, I did see that on your profile and also on Greg's profile. Now, I've never really kind of reached out to them, and I don't really have a lot of information. So feel free to share as much as you can.
well, the difference in the membership between the American Legion and the VFW, which I'm a life member of the VFW as well. I'm not,
Mhm.
I think both organizations are very, very, very good organizations. The Legion is the VFW, you had to have deployed somewhere in a war zone. The Legion is you just have to have served during wartime. So you can join the Legion, such as you said, you were in the Air Force during 9/11. So
Mhm.
just based off of that,
Active
you're
wartime.
eligible for American Legion. Yep, you're eligible for Legion membership.
Look at
The
that.
Legion and the VFW and the military coalition, they tend to all get together. These veterans, DAV, you name it, they all get together to get this legislation to get legislative bills passed to help veterans and with the VA um, so a lot of the bills, if you're the GL, that's American Legion and VFW working together way back when, and so there's all
Wow.
kinds of uh, goodness that comes out of being members of these organizations. While you may not have the time to be involved, in a local chapter or a post, you could definitely, you know, donate your, donate your membership dues to help make that voice a little
Oh,
louder on Capitol Hill.
I love that. Wow. I mean, I've learned a wealth of information from you, and I do appreciate you sharing all this. It's really enlightening. I do appreciate it. These
Did you
organizations, they're
see
doing so much
the
work. I did. I it
did you see
here.
the
Oh
thing with
goodness.
Greg? Okay.
I did. I did. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna try. Ooh. I'm just scared. I don't want to lose anybody here. And oh, this is gonna. All right. Here we go. Let me just take that out of the way. Can we see that? Let's see. There we
There we
go.
go.
Oh wow. Look at that. That is that's it's pretty big. So don't this right here is the post, the camaraderie rescue mission. I know. Let's see. We make it a little bigger. Um yeah, thank you for
Oh,
sharing
I see
that,
what he
Greg.
did. He took
What?
pictures of his flyers he had.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, that's okay.
so um,
I'm gonna
see
like that.
on one of them on the 6th, 7th, 8th.
Hmm.
There's a poker run. They have the traveling memorial wall.
Hmm.
There's all kinds of things going on.
Yeah, I mean they're very involved in the community and
And
even
it's
through these
in
organizations.
Avon Park, Florida.
Hey, that's not too far from here. I might be able to make that in person and possibly meet you, Greg, since I didn't get to meet you today. All right, well, we're gonna give
Well,
that a
once you
thumbs
meet
up.
him, you'll
All right.
realize that I was definitely second string. So he's
Ah, that's all
Greg
right.
can definitely talk this a whole lot better than I can. He's so good, and he's so passionate, and you'll never find anybody who has a bigger.
Well, I look forward to, you know, following up with him and us maybe doing some collaboration or something. Even if I can support him and his organization, like supporting a second chance. These organizations are very near and dear to my heart in the sense where I'd love to advocate for individuals that can't really always advocate for themselves, right? I mean, not because they can't, but it can be difficult, whether it's emotional, psychological, it can be traumatic, right? It just can be so difficult to bear that cross that you're already carrying, and to have that team, to have that support is just so important. And I've always believed in that. I've always um, just really stood by that. And like you said, servant heart. Once I did my military service, I knew that I wanted to continue to do community work in my community and be a servant that way. And that's just transpired into different things, but there's always goes back to that place of servitude, for others and those that I can help in some way, that I can just give them a resource or some hope or a smile, because all those things really do matter. Yeah. But you've been a great guest, Glenn. You've been a great guest. Okay, so since we got a couple more minutes, for those that haven't connected with you, and you might have some amazing people want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
Well, I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram. My Facebook is Wendell Glenn Pugh because, as I told you, it was actually my first name, but it was also my dad's first name. So if I was called Wendell as a kid, it was very traumatic for me. So that means I was in trouble. I don't go by that.
Makes sense. I feel you on that. Oh, goodness. All right. I'm going to try to take a peek and see if I can find your links here while you continue to
And
share.
LinkedIn, I'm also as well. And
Yes,
I'm,
yes. I
I'm
will
on LinkedIn,
definitely share
Instagram,
that.
Facebook. Uh, see what
Let's
else.
see. I don't want to say your first name then, but I can look it up real quick. Let's see if that something pops up. Last name Pugh. All right, and I guess people can look forward to seeing you in the being a representative of. Where are you going to be? Are you going to be in Washington?
Yep.
Wow.
No. So this is a
Here we
state.
go.
This is a state office. Um,
Okay. Okay. I found your
so
Instagram.
but the okay, great. Uh, I work from home for the land office. I'm basically
Oh,
a marketing specialist is what I'll be for board and what the general land office does. So the Texas state that and it is the oldest office in the state. It was designed back when Texas was its own country, uh, to help with the land grants when people came in from the east. So now they run all the state lands, the seats and the royalties from those states, which goes into the Texas Public Education Fund, and different things. So it's an important role. Um, so I'm glad to be part of it. The veterans, like I mentioned earlier, the Veterans Land Board, which is where they offer low interest loans for veterans to buy land, and as well as the veterans cemeteries, the
so
state veteran
important.
cemeteries, and the state veterans homes. So
Wow. A lot of work ahead for you, my friend, I'm sure. And it will be just amazing to continue to
it
follow
is.
you and kind of say, oh, I spoke with him and I got to interview him and hear and at least share this hour. So I'm just truly an honor again. And I've been able to share
Thank
your
you. That's really been
Instagram,
an honor for me.
your Facebook. And I see you're on Twitter. Yep, you're on Twitter. Twitter popped up here.
Oh, yeah, I am on Twitter. Yeah.
What? Okay, well, we're streaming to Twitter too. We're just streaming everywhere. Um, the only one I didn't get yet was your LinkedIn,
Go
but I've
ahead.
got. Here we go. Yeah, no, I get. Oh, 4 o'clock. We've done our job here. So, all right, everyone, we're here. We've been supporting a second chance with. My goodness, my son just happens to pop right in. Okay, so we've been supporting a second chance with Glenn Pugh, and it's just been an honor to get to know you and hear about all the organizations and all the work that you are doing. and just have this little intimate conversation about our community, our communities, and just being the
Yes, ma'am.
best civil servant, if civilian, that we can be. Because I'm a civilian now,
That's
right?
right.
You're a civilian too.
Absolutely. I highly
Yeah.
recommend the civilian life. It's okay.
Yeah, not too bad. All right. Well, thank you so much, sir. I do appreciate your
Thank you.
time. And
You
it's
bet.
been
Thank you so
a
much.
fantastic hour. Thank you. And goodbye to everyone in the chat. Thank you again. And don't forget to donate, please, to A Second Chance, because they need the funding that they can. And they will continue for the next 12 hours. So, there'll be another streamer popping up in your feed. Thank you, everyone.